Hello, beautiful people. Wednesday, August 3rd, 2022, and this is episode 408 of 413 Sportstalk. Today we discuss scores, NCAA stuff, NFL stuff, and the news. So, without further ado, let's just get it started. Trying this Arizona Iced out. Someone told me it was carbonated. And it is. Wow. Cherry, lime Ricky, nice. Whoever lime Ricky was, this is dope. It's like, anyway, Rafael Devers returns to the Red Sox and hits a solo home run in a very quiet 2-1 victory over the Astros. Yay, yay. Sabrina Ionescu drops a 31 piece, going 5 for 9 from 3. As the New York Liberty smoked the LA Sparks 102-73. Ouch. That's rough. Marina Mabrey goes for 26 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists as Dallas beats the Chicago Sky 84-78. And finally in the news, I want to talk about the Miami Dolphins. Shout out to Tyrell. And my boy John, Matt as well, two huge die-hard Dolphins fans. Unprecedented violations led to loss of draft picks in 2023 and owner Steve Ross being suspended until October 17th for impromptu trying to recruit Tom Brady and former Saints head coach Sean Payton, among many others. So, on to the NFL. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about fantasy football regression candidates, and here is a list of mine. I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I had 10. I think I had 10 on here, but we're going to give you 9 right now. It seems as though the other one I might have forgot to put on, something like that. But anyway, I don't personally enjoy ever calling someone a bust for fantasy football. There is always a range of outcomes where a player exceeds expectations. The issue is when the outlier seasons are used as predictive markers, suggesting this is now a reliable pattern. In most cases, the truth likely lands like somewhere in the middle, honestly. And here is my list, and I'm sure you will wonder why he is the first one we're going to go with, but stick with this. I got your back. This is the NFL on 413 Sports Talk. Aaron Rodgers, quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. Now, tried as hard as I can to do this without bias, but, we also have to be just very, very realistic when it comes to this stuff. Taking this off is the reigning back-to-back NFL MVP himself, Aaron Rodgers. Looking like he walked straight out of set from Con Air onto practice. Rodgers seems all but assured to have another incredible season. Last year's quarterback tossed 37 touchdowns with 4,115 yards as part of one of the best quarterback/wide receiver duos in recent history. This is where things get dicey for Rodgers in 2022. For one, he was already above expectation last year. In fact, he was 9.8 touchdowns above, based on the projected success rate, which was 27.2 versus 37. Where the expectations and regression fail to adjust is the overall talent of a player. Some guys are better at football than others, leading to model-breaking performances, and Aaron Rodgers happens to be one of those guys. With that said, this is not the same team. And as we know, it takes more than one player to record a touchdown. Someone has to be on the other end to catch it. Since 2016, no duo has done this more than Rodgers and Davante Adams, grabbing 64 of those. 23 more than the next closest duo of Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. In the total, 33% of Rodgers' passing touchdowns have gone to number 17. However, Adams is now a member of the Las Vegas Raiders, and Rodgers is entering 2022 with a wide receiver room consisting of Allen Lazard, Sammy Watkins, and Randall Cobb, not to mention rookies Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs, who have done nothing short of been impressive in camp. I'm sorry. So, yeah, even if we drop the touchdown rate to 5.5%, a full percentage point higher than the NFL average, Rodgers would need more than 700 passing attempts to hit that 39 touchdown mark again. More likely outcomes, we see Rodgers closer to 30 passing touchdowns than encroaching on 40, mathematically speaking. Due to improved situations of others in a similar range, Rodgers is a bust candidate for the fantasy in 2022. Where he could finish inside the top 7, he could also finish as the 15th best quarterback, given the lack of rushing upside and expected touchdown regression. Next guy on this list is Joe Burrow, quarterback for the Bengals. I'm not saying that Joe Burrow will be a fantasy bust. I think the guy's sensational, and when they put on the all-white uniforms, I pray I'm not somebody that's going to go up against any Bengal for that week for that matter. Yet, out of due diligence, I have to maintain him as a regression candidate who might bust in fantasy based on current expectations. Burrow could come back to earth a bit. Since 2016, of the 153 quarterbacks with 100 plus dropbacks, 38 were plus 3 or higher than expected. Burrow is one of them at plus 4 with 34 for expected. Unfortunately, this is not a great group to be in, just 7 of those 38, 18% clip, saw an increase the following season. Based on this, Burrow has over an 80% chance to have 34 or fewer passing touchdowns in 2022. In a standard league with touchdown scoring for fantasy points, 43% of Burrow's fantasy points, 136 of 314.2, came from passing touchdowns. So that was another thing that I would suggest to you guys where he could potentially bust. Football Outsiders suggest there was an even more significant disparity with Burrow's opportunity-adjusted expected touchdown total coming in at 23.5, which is a plus 10.5 in that range. I am very much in on the Bengals for 2022. They have arguably the top 1-2 punch at receiver with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, plus an entirely overhauled offensive line, which got overhauled the year before and still was able to produce. Burrow should even finish. He has a chance of finishing as quarterback 1, but those drafting him, assuming he could put up even more touchdowns than last season, could potentially be disappointed. Now, moving on. James Conner, halfback for the Arizona Cardinals, formerly a Pittsburgh Steeler as well. No running back points to regression more than James Conner, who finished his 2021 campaign with a staggering 9 more touchdowns than expected. In his first year at the Cardinals, Conner found the end zone on 7.5% of his 241 opportunities. It is the highest rate of any running back with 150 or more totes since 2016. Undoubtedly, Conner's role in the Cardinals' offense leads to more touchdown opportunities. His 40 red zone carries accounted for 15 of his rushing scores, including 10 touchdowns on 16 carries inside the 5-yard line. If Conner attempts to recapture the same success, he will need to see a similar workload, and if not more, inside the red zone with the same utilization in like goal-to-go situations, those type of things. The talent is there, undoubtedly so, and so are the opportunities, but can he stay healthy, which has been a struggle, and can he reproduce the same massively inflated touchdown rate while fending off Darrell Williams? Currently going inside the first 3 rounds, Conner is a bust candidate for fantasy due to likely regression, and this is one guy who you might want to consider, as a lot of you are still old school in the way that you draft as far as going with the running back first. Now, you have to think of wide receivers as the first guys you're going to draft on your fantasy leagues anyway, due to this league being more of a passing league. Moving on. Damian Harris of the New England Patriots. Any Patriots fans listening? Nope. Okay, so here we are. No one has enjoyed drafting a New England running back for fantasy in quite some time. Probably you have to date back to Corey Dillon. Given the committee approach and frustrating timeshares, having complete confidence is rare, honestly. Yet Damian Harris broke the trend last year, finishing as the 14th running back in points per receptions and 20th in PPR points per game at 14. He did this thanks to 15 rushing touchdowns on just 55.3% of his rushing volume, which was a staggering 203 carries. Where Harris shined was, in my opinion, in the red zone, as you would expect, with 13 of his touchdowns coming on 44 carries. He was also tied for third with 14 carries inside the 5-yard line. However, Harris should have only 8 touchdowns on the ground based on expectation. That would have dropped Harris from the 14th running back to the 26th on the season and lower his per-game average to 11.3, which would be a ranking of 35th. Harris is already trying to fight off Ramondre Stevenson, who is electric when the Patriots put him on the field. I was surprised, as well as probably many of people, with the way that Stevenson performed as a rookie. He also brings up some PPR upside compared to Harris, as it has never been part of his game that we know of yet. Add in return James White, the additions of Pierre Strong Jr., whom I think is going to be a very good running back in this league. I think Pierre Strong Jr., depending on where he is in training camp, takes carries away from Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris as well. And also you have Kevin Harris. All of a sudden, Damian Harris is a shaky option for fantasy. History told us not to trust the New England running backs. Honestly, it's told us that touchdowns are not sticky nor should be used as a predictive stat for this team. Add in larger workload and potential for breakout for Stevenson. Harris is more likely to be a fantasy running back 3 than repeat his fantasy running back number 2 season. Cordarrelle Patterson, a running back / wide receiver for the Atlanta Falcons. Moving along here. Like many, I did not see the Cordarrelle Patterson breakout in my crystal ball. The running back 9 in 2021, Patterson was the do-it-all player for the Falcons. Patterson saw nearly as many touches last year, 205, as he had in his 4 previous years combined at 220. Of those touches, 31.3% came via the air, 69, accounting for 58.1 of his fantasy points per game, 8.55 number. So, purely as a rusher, Patterson was serviceable at best, but he showed a rather significant downturn in production towards the end of the season. From weeks 14 to 18, Patterson averaged 2.62 yards per carry, while he averaged 2.95 yards per contact per attempt on the year. That bottomed out at a low 1.56 over the final 4 weeks. Although he did average 14.7 points per game in the PPR league, he posted just an 8.0 PPR game over the last 6 weeks, including 4 in a row outside the running back 2 range, which would place him in the top 24. There's a significant concern Patterson wore down towards the end of the year. Atlanta remedied this by adding Damian Williams and drafting Tyler Algier, another good running back, kind of in the same build and skill set as New England's Pierre Strong. That is definitely somebody I would feel comfortable comparing him to. Tyler Algier could help carry the load, losing carries for Cordarrelle, especially in the red zone, and this could be proven disastrous for him, especially for his fantasy prospects. At plus 4 touchdowns, 11 versus 7, Patterson found the end zone at a higher rate than should be expected. Add in the fact Patterson is closing in on 31 years old and on a team with the bottom two for projected wins in points, and Patterson is a bust candidate for fantasy football 2022. Next I have DK Metcalf, Debo Samuel, Dawson Knox, and George Kittle. Didn't do too much review on them, but that rounds out my list. Kind of don't want to be too long here. So these are guys who I think, based off of stats and points, are going to be busts in this season. Check out more stuff that I have for fantasy going down the road, including everybody you need to draft when you need to draft them. We're working on that as well. Now we will turn over to the NCAA. As we are talking about the passers, today I want to talk to you about Tanner McKee, quarterback for Stanford Cardinals. The 6'6" junior was born April 27, 2000 in Irvine, California. He played his high school ball at Centennial High in Corona, California. Excuse me for the stuttering. The highly talented young man played the 2018 U.S. All-American Bowl and the 2018 Polynesian Bowl and was named MVP of both contests. He committed to Stanford, but he had far more important commitments than that, and it was tied before he played ball as a Stanford Cardinal. He spent 2 years on a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. His first season was in 2020, and they saw him play only one game, 3 completions against the then number 12 ranked Oregon Ducks. In 2021, however, he competed with Jack West for the starting job, which he eventually won. And even though he started the season opener, McKee still got reps, going 15 of 18 for 118 yards and a touchdown. He was named starter the next week when they faced USC. His fourth collegiate start saw him and his unranked Cardinals defeat the number 3 Oregon Ducks, throwing for 3 touchdowns in that game, as well as spearheading an 87-yard game-tying drive at the end of the fourth quarter. How sweet is that? Tanner in 2021 statistically was 139 and 215 for 1,722 yards, 14 tuds, and 3 interceptions, completing at a 64.7 rate with 150.6 quarterback rating. And on the ground, he had 46 rushes, 51 yards. It's horrible. 3 touchdowns. So he's going to have a really good year and follow it up in 2023 to grab the attention of the NFL scouts, in my opinion. And that's it for NCAA football. Suck WNBA scores real quick. CT over Phoenix 87-63. New York over Los Angeles 102-73. Washington over Las Vegas 83-73. And Dallas over Chicago 84-78. On to the MLB, I have Boston over Houston 2-1. Doubleheader, San Diego over Colorado 13-5. And then the second game was San Diego over Colorado 3-2. Dodgers over San Francisco 9-5. Los Angeles Angels over Oakland 3-1. Chicago White Sox over the Kansas City Royals 9-2. Baltimore over Texas 8-2. St. Louis over Chicago 6-0. Detroit 5, Minnesota 3, Toronto 3, Tampa Bay 1, Arizona 6, Cleveland 3, Seattle 8, Yankees 6, Washington Nationals 5, Mets 1, Pittsburgh 5, Milwaukee 3, and Cincy 2, Milwaukee 1. And that is it for episode 408 of 413 Sports Talk. I am Raheem Escalay. Thank you guys for bearing with me in this. This was a very long episode. And I want to thank you for your continued support of the show. Love you all. Wishing nothing but health, wealth, and success. And we will see you with episode 409 tomorrow. Yeah.